Hey Mark, are you ready to record the show?
Hey, buddy, get in here. It's Saturday morning. We got to talk toys.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How the heck is everybody doing out there? Sorry, I had to reload the page, man. Look
What's
at
going on
this.
here? We got
Look what's up here.
on the
Look
same
at this.
we're all together.
That's too
Feeling very
much.
flexible this morning. Very, I don't know, you might
Triple
say.
jointed.
Yeah, triple jointed. Yeah.
I
A
like it.
menage a trois, if you're French speaking.
Mm.
I've never
Which
been on here with Curtis on here at the same time.
I know, right? It's
I'm
usually
Lance.
Lance, sorry.
It's
Lance,
usually
yeah.
he's filling in, man. He's usually pulling double duty, double jointed.
Well,
But
I'm
yeah,
glad we're here to share the screen.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. If anybody was here on the show last week, Curtis threw out a really good idea, and that was to have a DC Multiverse versus Marvel Legends showdown, and so that's what we're here to do. And because we know we're all talkers, and I've got a hard stop at noon today because it's my daughter's final dance recital of the year, decided we better start at 10 because otherwise we're not going to get through this whole big show. So let's start off by saying good morning to the chat. We've got
Good
J
morning.
Mac. Good morning, friends. I'm glad you got your coffee. I do too. Ready to go. We've got Blake, Recon Rage. Good morning.
T.
Oh, there you go. Got Elemental Crafting. Good morning, everybody.
Go Raiders. Yeah.
Look at this guy, Smurber. He's in the chat. Brian Carr's with us this morning. Good morning, everybody. Heinrich
Morning.
Hoffman starting trouble over at Dork Lair this week.
Definitely.
Heinrich Hoffman getting folks
Controversial
banned,
figure. He's controversial.
getting people kicked off their show. No, I'm just kidding. People got themselves kicked off the.
He's
Yeah.
that guy that
Uh,
like rolls a grenade into the group and he goes, "What? What happened? What?
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
just
Later.
just dropping news links, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, howdy, good morning, Jeff. How's it going, buddy? Got Jen Jen Siak.
Morning,
Somebody
Jen.
tell me if I'm saying that right.
Lucky
Lucky
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
What it is.
Yeah, exactly. Triple threat. That's right. It's just, we're getting triple jointed this morning. We've got a big show for you guys. That's why we're starting early. But before we do any of that, let me get this chat off here. Before we kick things off, I did want to share a little bit of good news, which I thought was great. So let me see here. Like, what do I want to do? I want to share a screen. That's what I want to do.
Mm.
Share a screen. I want to share this screen right here. Sorry, I have to duck around my camera. And nope, that's not happening. Nope. Don't want to do
Whoa.
that. Look at that. No, we can.
Wow.
Staring into
Oh,
the
we're stuck in the matrix. All right, let's
Yeah.
try this again. Come on. Maybe I need more coffee. I want to share. No, stop. Stop sharing.
Jordan says,
Ugh.
friends. Heinrich says, Dorklair is my hero. He's everybody's hero. Oh, and Mark is gone. Well, we can talk about Mark now that he's gone. I don't know about that
All
guy.
right.
I'm not sure. He's okay. So how you been, Curtis? How was off-world last night?
You know, it's as good as an off-world could be. So we've got Blake now, which is some fresh blood.
Blake is fantastic, man.
Yeah. So that's
Very-
been helpful.
Very articulated, good speaker,
Yeah.
intelligent.
I gotta tell
Nice
you.
having some people on off-world that actually show up. So yeah.
That's always important.
Yeah.
Just deleted my own self from the.
We saw that.
I deleted
That's
myself.
all right. Me and Curtis could
All
riff
right.
for hours.
Oh, for sure.
Here we go. This is what I wanted to talk about. Now that I've got it sorted, our good friends Ginger Kid Collectibles had their grand opening for their brand new store today. This is in Athens, Georgia. This is 5 hours north of me. It's pretty
Nice.
much like me driving to Atlanta.
Hmm.
And I'm going to drive up at some point and make the trek. But I just wanted to show you. Look at this. Look at this goodness right here.
Absolutely. Got to support.
Look at this. Look at all of this Mythic Legion's goodness.
Nice.
It
Place
wasn't
looks
until this
incredible.
past weekend that I realized that Ginger Kid was like a actual person. I thought people were just making fun of Van. And I would like people would go to shows and they were talking about Ginger Kid. I'm like, oh, they're just making fun of Van. I'm like, no, this is like a person. So
is he also a ginger?
Yes, he is. They are some of the. It's a dad and his son. I don't know if you guys have met him. I've met him several times. My buddy Randall, who recently got into Mythics, that was the place I bought him his very first, or he bought himself his very first Mythic. I walked up to their cart and it was like, here, their store at a con, and I put Devon in his hand. So
that's a good starting one.
I was like, this is the one you need to start with, and so there we go. So congrats to Ginger Kid and his son for pulling that off. That is a huge
awesome.
accomplishment, achievement unlocked. Let's see. We've got Twizzler 19. Dorklair's my hero too. We've got Jordan here. Jordan, they know the Ginger Kid guys. Thanks, Heinrich, our unofficial man off the bench. He's always coming in clutch, sharing our stuff. There you go. Yeah, Jason and Chance. That's right. I couldn't remember their
He dropped 15 links and 7 of them were tariff links. So
love it.
The other 8 were this show.
Nobody's mentioned it yet, but I did go back and watch last week's episode just to see how the intros and stuff were cutting off, and I realized that for you guys, the Greg and I, our Fred and Barney intro cuts off right at the end, that you don't hear like the last part. I will fix that. Fix that. I hope I can fix that.
The other ones were great, but then it comes back and you guys are like, oh, that took forever.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird, like, because you guys don't see like the last like 8 seconds of the show, but of the intro, but I'm sitting over here just like watching dead air, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, that's where it was. I believe it was Toylanta. No, not Toylanta. That's not where did me and Randall go? I can't remember. It was somewhere local for him to go with me because he doesn't go anywhere else. Let's see here. What else do I have in my
I'll get to meet him at Toylanta this year because I am going in September.
Are you going? Nice, man.
Nice. Very cool.
Hoping to see Mark there.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah, for sure. All right, let's do it. Let's get into some of these commercials.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right. Yep, there we go. Now you guys see you see what I see. It's like 8 seconds of dead air. All right, let's get into it. We've got some really fun commercials today, man. I love all of these.
You know they're soldiers of fortune, helping people in need. Pretend that you're Hannibal, Murdoch or Face, or maybe B.A. Baracus. You know each one is an ace. Each is sold separately with rifle and gear. If there's trouble to face, you know the A-Team's here. They're the A-Team. The A-Team, Hannibal, Face, Murdoch, and B.A. Baracus.
Love it.
Sold separately from Krona Toys.
Kroner Toys. I do not remember
No, I never heard of him.
Kroner Toys, but I had every one of those figures. I would reenact those scenes where he's like, I ain't getting no plane, Hannibal.
Didn't they have a smaller 3 3/4 version of the A-Team as well?
They probably did.
I only knew of those.
Andy would know.
I'm sure Andy would know.
He would know.
I'm sure they wanted to like get in on that G.I. Joe action, but
I didn't have those, but my uncle did when I would go visit my so my uncle had Down syndrome, lived with my grandparents. I would go to visit him in the summer and I would get to play with the toys when I was there. And I remember thinking like it's odd because my uncle was like in his 30s and he still collected toys. And I was like, maybe it's a Down syndrome thing, like for people in their 30s to still collect toys.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
Now look at you.
Yeah.
Man,
I might have got
anytime I
Nick.
hear of
I don't know.
somebody's
I don't know.
Anytime I hear of somebody's uncle having Down syndrome, I just think of, what's the comedian that talks about his uncle Danny?
Yeah.
Who's got Down syndrome, he's making grilled cheeses at night, sneaking them into restaurants.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
He's
All right,
he's from Mechanicsburg, which is where Jesse Arnold is from.
What? I didn't know
Really?
that.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, we've got
That's
Brick
no fun
something in the
fact.
chat.
Morning, Brick.
Wholesome Warlock. Yeah, Charlie's Collectibles Show, Mark. That's it. There you go. That's
Jordan
right.
is a font of information. That guy
Yes,
knows
he is.
everyone. He knows head sculpts. He knows he's
also just an amazing person.
he's an amazing
Yeah.
person.
He really
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
My buddy
Lost
Randall,
to me.
that was his first time ever meeting Jordan. And we were on the ride home, and Randall was like, who's the guy with the long hair? And I was like, that's Jordan. And he goes, he was so nice, dude. Like, he was like, he talked to me like he knew me his whole life. And I was like,
Yeah, he's solid dude.
absolutely.
Purple positivity.
That's right.
That's it. Jeff said Galoob made the 3 3/4 inch 18.
I remember seeing them. I feel like their faces weren't really painted though. It's kind of weird.
Mm.
Maybe I'm
Rick
wrong.
says my brother had that BA. The buck had odd proportions. I had the little O-rings. That's right. They were weird, but man, I love those 18 figures.
They look
They were
cool.
so good.
They look very cool.
Muscle Invasion
our next one in
Update.
the
Scientists
lineup.
discover muscle things have come to wrestle. America's only hope, the Battle and Belt, and the
yeah.
wrestling ring.
He moves left. He's hooked one. Into the battle and belt it goes. He's got another. Folks, this wrestling ring may save the world. One more to go. He's got him. His battle and belt is full. Hard knocking, rocking ring. Battle and belt. Muscle figure packs each sold separately. New from Mattel. Can you save the world?
Hit him with that left hook. Holy moly.
Hit him with that left hook.
Dude,
Now-
I love muscle as a kid. But there's no way I would have fitted in that belt. There's no way.
Yeah. Nah,
Not
there's
happening.
no way. Not happening. Exactly. Now, do either of you happen to remember off the top of your head what muscle stood for?
Oh, no idea.
No.
Me either. I had to Google it. And now I've done forgot. Somebody, if Andy was in the chat, he would tell me. But it was like millions of ugly little something lurking everywhere. Like,
Mhm.
is
Jeff,
it?
I just remember
Belt.
the what was
Belt
it,
would
the
fit on,
Japanese name for it originally. It was like Kenny Kuman.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about that because that's actually how millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere.
There you go.
Yeah, I want to here. Let me show you because the reason that this popped up for me this week was, man, watch me. I'm gonna delete myself again. Was my buddy Scott
Yeah, there it is.
shared this
Kuman.
image of an upcoming SH Figure Arts figure. And he goes, this guy's always been one of my favorite characters. He's goofy. I remember watching the anime when I was a kid. And I was like, wait, did they put this guy in the muscle line? Because I just remember his mouth, the big
I thought
like
they did.
donut. So as it turns out, I had to look this up because I did not know this. This was a Japanese anime and a manga called Kinnikuman. So Curtis was right. They brought it to America and they took characters from the anime and the manga and they adapted it into a toy line and it became Muscles. So this guy actually started the Muscles line.
Mhm.
And that's why they were all this particular color up until I think they did like a big push called Muscles Part 2 where they started changing the color and they all had different colors, green, blue, orange, whatever. But yeah, like I didn't know that. I just remember this guy being like one of the very first muscle men that ever came out. So learning a bunch. Also found out that Dan Larson did an entire show on muscles on Secret Galaxy. So
Oh, that's cool.
Need to watch
yeah,
that.
definitely need to watch that. Millions of unusually small. I love how Brick did this. Millions of unusually small creatures lurking everywhere. Absolutely.
I know, people have started like collecting these like now, like, going and picking up one here and there and stuff. And they can get expensive. So for anybody that wants these, like wants the whole set, just FYI, there's a set on eBay. It's a Kenny Kuman 400 piece set. It's $389, but you basically get all of them. So if you don't want to do the whole one at a time for, $5-10 or whatever,
get them for just basically $1 a piece.
Yeah, a little less than $1 a piece.
You're a helper and a giver, Curtis.
So yeah, you just look up Kenny Kuman set on eBay.
Yeah, that's dope. I need like 5 or 6. Like, just give me like 5 or 6 of these guys.
418.
Little handful.
Yeah, just a handful. Yeah, I'm actually going to go see a friend of mine today, and he said he has a can full of these guys at his house. So I'm gonna see if I can.
You need one of those trash cans that they sold them in. That it was, what was it, like 10 or something that was in the trash can?
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. We have one more commercial left.
The mob has taken over the streets. Crime is out of control. Who can stop this? Only Dick Tracy, master detective with legendary deductive powers, dedicated lawman known and feared by criminals everywhere. With the aid of his dependable right-hand man, Sam Ketchum, and the best in crime-fighting technology, Dick Tracy's gonna clean up the city his own way. Can Tracy and Ketchum do it alone? Find out next time. Dick Tracy! From Playmates.
Dick Tracy. I love Dick Tracy, but man, I wish Playmates did not do that line.
Man, let me tell you, look at the production value here. Somebody off screen is shooting BBs into these windows.
Right.
Look at this.
Love that.
Look at this right here. Bing, bing, bing.
Bing, bing, bing. There was a Genesis game that Dick Tracy that was phenomenal. So good.
I only collected some of these to justify watching the movie so I could see Madonna in that kind of see-through outfit. I was like, Mom, no, it's because I like the toys. It's okay for me to watch this.
Yeah, exactly. It's made for kids.
What's her name? Like,
that movie is actually,
her name was
the movie's actually really good.
Lips Mahoney?
Yeah.
Lips Manless, this guy right here.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Not to be confused with Kinky Cumin or whatever that guy's name was.
Kinky Cumin,
Kinky Cumin.
That's a nice little gun there.
Yeah, look at that. And he had concrete shoes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. These are mine from when I was a kid.
Nice. I never had these. I love Dick Tracy, though.
I would love to have had a blank, speaking of Madonna, but I think that was one that came out right at the very end of the line, and it was like shortly, like it wasn't very well produced, and it's crazy hard. It's like the
it was crazy hard. That's I can confirm.
What was the
wait a minute.
What was the name of that rat or that fox or whatever that character was in Ninja Turtles that was the jailbird that was like he had like the prison outfit on?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name.
All right, come on, chat. It was like that. He was the blank was extremely underproduced, and so I always wanted it because it was on the back of all the packages, but never saw one ever in my life, and they're crazy hard to get. Let's see here. Let's see here. Brick says, "Oh, my collection's missing like 12. I'd sell it for about 250." John McGovern, how's it going?
Morning, John.
Let's see here. Oh, we got Kevin Hamilton. Oh, check this out. We got Toy Gains. How's it going, dude? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Wow, has all of them on card except for blank.
Wow. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Toy Gains says the movie is beautiful, love the colors. That's right. I never understood how they could have a Dick Tracy without trench coat. Yeah.
Some of the villains in that movie though creeped me out as a kid.
They were odd, yeah.
They
were odd for sure.
Scratch. Andy came through with.
You knew
Scratch.
he would. Yeah,
of course, absolutely. And then Andy also says, I think they only released the blank in Canada.
Damn Canada.
Possibly.
We were going through the wish books last night, and there was a Sears wish book for 1998, and then a Sears wish book for Canada in 1998, and we compared the two. The Canada one had way better pictures. Like it was mostly the same toys, but they had way better pictures in their catalog.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wonder why.
I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I've noticed something because I have to study a lot of these toy commercials for our show every week, and I have found that sometimes um, there will be British or UK commercials
Mhm.
for the same exact toy line, and it's filmed the exact same, just with like different kids, and you know they all have like British accents or whatever. They're also very long, like much longer. So like a typical UK commercial for a toy would be like 45 seconds, whereas ours would have been 30.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
I'm not sure why, but yeah, it's like it's kind of different.
Hmm.
Let's see. Brick said the '60s Dick Tracy cartoon was fantastic. I saw it when they brought it back um, in time for the movie. Yeah,
Well, I think
absolutely.
the Canada commercials are typically a little longer because they got to add a at the end of every sentence.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
you definitely want to buy these Dick Tracy toys, eh?
yeah, exactly.
I don't like people who know me, who know that I'm silly and funny, also don't know that I don't like silly and funny movies or TV shows. I'm not a fan of comedies, but there's only a handful of comedies that I actually like. But I got to tell you,
Wow.
Strange Brew is probably one of my all-time
Now
favorite
you're
movies.
talking. Take off,
I
Dude,
love that.
that
Gozer.
is such a good movie. I
I
freaking
love
love
it.
it. Yeah.
Like when they're in there trying to make their own version of like the Star Wars like movie, and it's like the van is like they're low and it's like smoke. And he's like, take off, you aliens,
Take
take
off,
off, hosers.
fool.
I love it.
When they go in with the bottle with the mouse in it to try to get free beer.
Check this out, eh? Look what happened.
Yeah. The trick is you got to put the mouse in there when he's really young and feed it and let it grow, and then you bring it in there. You say, "Oh, I found it like this, eh?"
I had the McFarlane Toys Strange Brew figures for the longest time, and I wouldn't get even when I sold all my McFarlane like statue figures stuff. I
Mhm.
never got rid of them. I just had those two on my shelf for the longest time. I think I need them back because God, I love that movie. It's so wild. I did not make an intro for this, but I am going to add a new segment to the show just for a short period of time. This is a limited edition segment to the show, and because this kind of came out of last week's episode, if anybody remembers last week. So I call it "Kicking It with Chuck."
Mm.
Because
Nice.
I went back after last week because this Chuck Norris toy line was absolutely one of my favorite toy lines when I was a kid. Now I really can't explain why. Um, I think it was because I had them all, with the exception of the two variants. There was a black Super Ninja right here, and then the red Ninja Warrior were like variants that came out later, and I never had
Mm.
those. But the rest of these guys, I had every single one of them, and I think if I can't explain to you as a kid why I like them, but as an adult looking back, I think it's because they were brightly colored. They looked like the animation in the cartoon, and they had each one of them came with really cool action features, and that's all the things that I loved about the Kenner Superpowers line, is
Mm.
that they were brightly colored, they looked like the characters from the comics, and they all had action features, and I think that translated over to this line. Also, they were larger. They were like 5 inches or so, so they weren't your standard tiny action figures. um, and so I went down the rabbit hole of looking at these on eBay, and as it turns out, not very expensive. If you
Oh
want
wow.
them mint on card, they can get up to a couple of $100 if you want them mint on card. I think the most expensive one I saw was the undercover Chuck, where he looks like he's a woodland ranger or something like this. Uh, uh, lumberjack looking Chuck Norris. I saw one for like 250 where Chuck himself had signed it. But other than that, they're very reasonable. I want them loose because I'm just going to play with them. So drum roll, please. After 1 week, this is what
Oh
happened. I'm gonna take away the ones that I got after a week. Bam!
wow.
Wow.
I was able to
You.
pick up Battle Gear, Chuck. I was able to pick up Reed Smith, Chemo, because he fights cancer, and Tabe right here. I was able to get all of them already, and then last night I bought one more, and I'm gonna save that for next week's update for Kicking It with Chuck. But these figures are amazing, and I'm when I get them in, you best believe me and my son are going to be making a new commercial
There
for
you
these
go.
guys.
I'm still fighting them on the using my likeness for Tabe. So we're still in
Look
negotiations
at
on
that.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah, I
ongoing.
saw a lot
He
of
can't talk
people
about it.
selling him without his like robes,
Yeah.
like I don't know what else to call that, his skirt piece, and he's just in like underwear. Like that's it. And he's barefoot. So oh my gosh. Let's see.
Oh, it must be Greg then. Sorry.
Right.
It's
I
gotta
forgot
be.
he's barefoot.
I love this line as well. They were just super fun quality toys. Kevin Hamilton says, "Oh my god, I had some of those." Absolutely. Brick, hey, yeah, that's right. These toys were great. One of my last childhood lines. Um, Brick said I used to battle him. He would battle a few of the Ninja Turtles. Um, yeah. Andy says, yeah, get them on card because they had a paintwear problem. As a matter of fact, the undercover Chuck that I'm looking at right now, he's about $35 on card, and I think I'm going to get him. But all the ones I picked ones with really good paint.
Do you ever,
Um,
as you're looking through like these old toy lines, see something that you never knew existed, and then you immediately have to have it?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I've been collecting the Batman Returns line for a while
Mhm.
on card, and I never knew that they made a Batcave for that. And
Oh
it is
wow.
like the coolest Batcave ever. Like it's got the monitor set up, and it's got like the thing where you can like where his costume is in there. It's got where the the car can drive through and stuff. Like it is like the coolest Batcave ever. So yeah, I think
That's
I'm gonna have to
pretty
get one of
incredible.
those. Yeah.
I was scrolling through uh, eBay a couple of months ago, and I don't know why, but I think I was looking for that old Rambo line. It was
Mhm.
probably because I ran the commercial one
Mhm.
Saturday on our show and was like, man, I remember those Rambo figures. Maybe I'll get one. And while I was scrolling through looking for Rambo, I came across this toy line that right now I can't remember, but it was a toy line of like 6-inch scale, like military figures that were all bare chested with like military style pants and gear and boots. And I forgot what it was called, but it was a weird line. But I think they were just trying to capitalize on the momentum of the Rambo toy line, but they
Mhm.
had very distinctive knives. Every one of them came with a knife and a machine gun. And they had weird looking faces, but the sculpts were great. And I can't remember what they were called, but I was like, oh, shoot, I have not seen that since I was like 10 years old. Like, and it's just like, there are sometimes like Andy says, I can't remember why I walked in a room, but I
Mhm.
can see a toy that I have literally not laid eyes on in 39 years and be
Mhm.
like, I had that. I
Mhm.
remember the adventures I went on with that guy. It's just crazy what
Yeah.
sticks with us, what imprints on us and we carry with us for the rest of our lives. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and it like transports you back to that time, right? Like what you were doing and that moment in time with your parents and where you were living and what
Right.
friends you had and yeah, all that stuff.
Kind of
Kevin, yes, there
encapsulates
was
your
a cartoon. Yeah.
encapsulates the happiness that you had when you
Oh
were
yeah.
playing with it, as well.
Well, that's what I don't know if you
Yep.
guys saw. I did a new video on my channel this past week called Travel Toy. And that's something that I've done for years now. Like, because when I was younger, I would travel with my parents, and if we didn't murder each other in the back, me and my sister, they would get us a toy. So now, anytime I go on a business trip, I always try to find a toy when I'm out and about. And it usually ends up being, so a lot of times nowadays you go into a retail outlet and you can't find anything good, but I make myself pick up something, even, just kind of like, because I want to get something to bring to
Right.
the hotel room. So usually end up, finding something I normally wouldn't buy. But I just like, I was this week, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to film some of this and just put it out there because I do this anyway. I may as well share it. So,
I do the same thing. If I know I'm going to be on a long car ride, and honestly, I don't like driving, and my
mhm.
wife drives a lot when we're on long car rides. That's also so that we get there in a timely manner. Because if I drive, I have to stop like every hour and like switch. I'm just not. I can't focus for that long. And she drives, she can drive for like 2 or 3, 4 hours and, not stop. But I always take a figure in the car to play with. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pick up a friend of mine today, and we're driving about an hour and a few minutes away to go visit another friend.
Mhm.
And we're taking a ton of figures with us just to like sit and talk about them in the car. Like absolutely. I still do it to this day. Yes, there was a Chuck Norris cartoon called Karate Commandos. We ran, I think, a clip from it a couple weeks ago, and I think we ran the intro, or did we? I don't remember. I know we did the commercial. I don't remember. But yeah, yeah. Brixham just says you got to get the going to get the Corvette. Yeah, there was a Corvette called the was it the Karate Corvette, and there was a motorcycle called the Samurai Cycle for it as well. Charles is here. V Dog triple jointed bros.
Hey,
That's
Charlie.
right. And then William Houston joined. Good morning. Been painting with the Mod Squad. Nice. So I will update you guys on kicking it with Chuck because I do plan on getting the whole line. I probably will maybe skip that red ninja, but that super ninja, this guy right here, the purple guy, he was a lot of fun. So maybe I will track down the black one. But what I've noticed is the black one has a lot of wear on just about everyone I've seen on eBay, and I can't find a complete red one on eBay to save my life. The gear that this guy came with is red for the black ninja, and it's black for the red ninja. I can't find a complete red ninja out there, so maybe I'll end up just getting the figure itself. But yeah, kicking it with Chuck. We're gonna catch back up with that next week. All right, it's time to peruse the pages of the catalogs. And we're going to be talking about
Ooh,
synergy this
good
week
stuff.
because we've got muscles involved with this for sure. But I saw this page and I absolutely loved it because I had some stuff on this page. But here we have a page that's got both Voltron, some sort of racetrack, and some muscles. So, did you guys have any of these Voltron figures when you were younger?
I did not. My friend had both the Lions and the vehicles. I loved the Lion one. The vehicle one was neat, but it's not. I don't know. It's not what you see in the cartoon. So, so I was partial to the Lion one, but yeah, they were a lot of fun. But I did not have them. Had tons of muscle though.
Still do.
Mm.
I had both.
Yeah.
I had both, and I'm like you, Mark. I love the vehicle version.
Oh
That's
man.
probably my favorite is the vehicle version.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Just looking here, I'm blowing this up so that I can see it. So we've got A here is the Voltron Lion Force Battle Riser. Disguised as a vehicle, Voltron moves in a horizontal position, then springs up when he hits an object, kind of like a Roomba. Voltron returns to his original
Interesting.
position when touched on the head. So do I. I return to my original position when I'm touched on the head as well.
Absolutely.
Uses two AA batteries, not included, of course. You can order this on page 415. That's great. Imported from Hong Kong, $21.99. Then B is I never saw this, the remote control Voltron Lion Warrior, 24 inches tall. Jesus. Two
That's a big
feet
one.
of Voltron
It's a
just
big one.
rolling around your house.
Look at the price of the Matchbox, the vehicle set.
I know, right?
That's insane.
$59.99.
There's no
That's
way.
crazy.
That's crazy.
I
Yeah.
I want to say that that's more expensive than like Castle Grayskull and like
But it was
the
like
Cat's
die
Lair.
cast. It was like solid die cast. I
Yeah,
think it was.
15 vehicles that combine to form three different attack vehicles: Land Warrior, Air Warrior, and Space Warrior. Then combine all 15 to create a towering Voltron. I don't know if I have shared this story with you guys, but I remember watching. I think it was that show Toys That Made Us. I was watching a Voltron episode, and they were talking about how. Uh, a bunch of Japanese animation studios had come to no, I'm sorry, a bunch of American executives went over in the 80s to Japan to like this animation conference, and they were shown this showcase of like all of the most popular like animation shows like in Japan at the time. And they were shown an intro for a cartoon about lions, but it wasn't Voltron. It was something else. It was about these people that could turn into like these lions or something like that. And one of the executives saw the vehicle Voltron commercial and remembered it was Voltron or something like that. He wanted to pick up that show, the Vehicle Voltron show, and he wanted to pick up the People Turning into Lions show. So he goes back to LA, he gets his boss's approval, and then he contacts the animation studio in Japan. And he was like, we want to order Voltron. We want to order a whole series of Voltron, meaning the Vehicle Voltron. And I want to do this show about the lions. And they misunderstood. And so they thought he meant give us the Voltron Lion show. And that's what they dubbed in English and they sent over, and they had got the whole thing ready to go. And then when they received it back, they're like, that's not what we wanted. We wanted the one with the vehicles. But it didn't matter. They'd already been dubbed in English. So they just ran it. And that's how we
That's
have
awesome.
the Lion Voltron first, which is crazy that all of our childhoods were affected. You know, we all have such a love for the vehicle Voltron. I mean, the Lion Voltron. And it was all kind of a misunderstanding, which I absolutely love.
Well, the one C is that's the lion one that has like the compartments for the pilots and stuff, right?
Yeah, I had that one
Yeah.
as a kid. Yeah, that's the
That
one I
was
had.
cool.
Yeah. That's why it's got weird proportions, because the Lions had to like feature this thing where like a cockpit where you could actually put a 3 3/4 inch figure in there. But yeah, you know, I never knew about this wrestling ring for the muscles, like where you could attach them and like have them battle. That's pretty dope. I don't ever remember seeing that as a kid.
Hmm.
But that's really nice. I dig it.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah, I see people talking about the vehicle one had a cartoon. I never saw it. So I can't comment on which one is better because I only watched the lion one.
Right, absolutely. Back to the chat. Andy says, you guys started early. We did, because it's the three of us and we have a big topic to discuss. And so we're about to get near it. Blake, man, thank you so much for the super chat. I love how a toy can transport you back in time, a happier time when things seem
Thank you,
simpler.
Blake.
The community is the best. Love you all. Love you too, Blake. It's when I try to explain this to people who are not toy collectors, I was like, it's the way music affects you. You know how like you hear a song that you haven't heard in like 20 years, and instantly you know where you were the moment you heard that song, who you were with, what you did that day, like how that song made you feel, like it imprints on you. That's what a toy does for me. Like it's the same thing.
Right.
It's no different. It's no
Well
different.
said.
Andy says Vehicle Voltron is the superior cartoon. I have spoken. Andy's put his foot down.
And he used his Nick Nolte voice. So
I know, right? William Houston said, I guess those Chuck figures were 3 3/4. No, they were like 5.5. They were like a little bit taller. Maybe they were right at 6 inches, because they were a little bit taller from what I remember than He-Man, or right around that. So they were definitely not smaller. I'm gonna measure it as soon as I get it in.
It's one of those things where I think we always think that they're a little bit bigger, like because the cops I know you had cops on last week with the thing, and I always remembered those being like huge, and then you look back at them, they're only like 5.5. So
right,
I would imagine, if I had to guess, that those Chuck Norris ones are also about 5.5. They're
I'm
just
sure
not
there
squatty
was
like
the two
He-Man.
main scales.
5.5 is
Were, like,
respectable.
Yeah, I mean it's a decent amount. It's
If you require more than that, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Brick says they skipped over Voltron 2 and went straight to Voltron 3 cartoon here in the US, editing Japan's Dairuger episodes. Yes, that is correct. I also remember that Dairuger was what it was called. Let's see. Anything else here in the chat? I think the show they meant to get was Gao Gai Gar, Lion on the Chest. The show they got was Go Lion. There you go. Brick's coming in with the information that I don't have. I just vaguely remember this story and it being crazy. The vehicle came later, completely different cartoon called Dairuger. Yeah, not a Voltron at all. It wasn't a Voltron at all. That's right. The reason the US uses the imperial system is because privateers, we were supposed to be on the metric system. Random thought of the day. Thank you for that. Oh my gosh, William Houston, you guys. Wish I could do more for my favorite guys. Are you kidding? Just
Appreciate
showing
that
up in
so
the
much.
chat is
Yeah.
all you need to do.
Thank you, William.
Great dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, Andy, bigger than Motu, got to be 6 inches. Benny Torres, hey, good morning. I'm late. Nope, you're right on time. We started
What's up,
early.
Benny?
Nobody's late today. We
What's up,
started at
Terrence?
10 because we have a lot of stuff to get through today. Uh, working, but I wanted to say good morning. Terrence's next toy. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, buddy. We really appreciate it. Now, the reason we started early is because the three of us are very verbose and we like to talk, and we knew it was going to be a long show, and we have a really big topic for you guys. So, what's the big topic for the day? Curtis threw this out last week, and here we go. It is going to be DC Multiverse versus Marvel Legends. And I did put these two figures up there because they are mine. These are my two of my three favorite characters of all time. So I mostly buy DC Multiverse for Batman, and I mostly buy Marvel Legends for Spider-Man. But we are going to go over this because Curtis had a great idea of what if we put these two together and see how they come out, how it all shakes out in the end. And we talked about it a little bit this week, and we are going to kind of rank these in a very scientific and specialized, technologically advanced manner on these 10 categories: packaging, aesthetic, articulation, accessories, scale, character selection, price point, availability, value, and customizability. So, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like look at this. This is so official. Look at all this.
Ooh, wow.
So official.
Got a ballot. Wow.
I know, right? We're going to kind of like, we're going to take each one of these categories. We're all going to weigh in. And I'm glad that there's three of us because if there's a tie, we get a tiebreaker. And we're all going to kind of weigh in on these different categories. Yep.
Yeah,
Jump
I'd like
in
to
there.
say something real quick because I see Heinrich says Marvel Legends wins. And I would immediately say DC Multiverse wins. But the thing is, we're trying to take this strategically and look at the different criteria. So it's
Right.
not just, fanboy, picking their favorites, because, we could easily do that. And DC would definitely win because it's better. But once we go through this criteria, we may find out that I may actually give Marvel more points. We'll see.
Yep, we're going to see.
Being
One last
diplomatic.
thing on Voltron. Brick said the name Voltron wasn't even Japanese at all. They were separate cartoons that were their own thing. Beast King, Go Lion was Lion Voltron, and Armored Fleet Die-Ruger Vehicle Voltron. Yeah, they got to make it simple for us people in America.
That's
you know?
right. That's right.
Like
You're
it
right.
broke my brain when I found out that news, much like I found out that egg rolls are not actually in Chinese food. Like they're not actually from China. They're from America. So there
That's
you go.
crazy.
And if you go to China, you're
Good
not going
taste.
to get a fortune cookie. So
Mm.
that's an American thing too. All right, so we're going to jump in here and we are going to take a look at it because this is a hard one for me because my two favorite characters are both represented in both of these lines. So it's going to be extremely hard. And if I had to pick a favorite, Batman is my favorite character of all time. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think the DC Multiverse figures are the best of all time. So, we're gonna see, and we're gonna jump right into it. So we're gonna start with packaging. So we all know what a Marvel Legends package looks like. We know when they give us a deluxe figure, what that's going to look like. We're getting some new updated packaging with the Maximum Series line as well. Do either of you have? Oh, yep. There you go. Yep. Oh, you know what? I totally skipped over pickups. Sorry. I guess we're not doing that.
We can do it on the way at the end, maybe.
We may not have
But
time, but we'll see.
Yeah, I actually have a standard. I picked this up this week. This is the bronze version of the '89 Batman. So here's standard DC Multiverse package. You guys know what these look like. Looking pretty nice. Not to be outdone, I did also buy a Marvel Legends this week. I got this guy from Amazon for like $20 because I figured I can get $20 worth of fun out of that dude. Absolutely. So yeah. So what do you guys, Curtis, alphabetically here? What do you think about the packaging?
I've got to give it to DC Multiverse. I think, as part of the packaging, I'm also including the card that they put in there, right? Because I think that's a nice little touch. I think, the open window, you turn around the back, you got this really nice artwork on the back of each piece. yeah, I got to give it to them. Marvel Legends, on top of it just being better than a regular Marvel Legends packaging, they also went through that, no window phase, reduced the plastic. It was like a complete failure. And then, backed off of that pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, packaging wise, I think it's pretty easily DC Multiverse.
I might agree with Curtis. The only thing I would disagree on though is with Marvel though is they did the retro card, which I think is a lot of fun. I've got a ROM over there that looks great on package with the retro
and the
card.
Secret Wars ones.
Yeah, but I think Marvel, DC Multiverse, it comes at the stand, which I guess might be an accessory thing. But I don't know. It's like a nice premium package. It's kind of glossy. You got a big window here. You also have, like Curtis said, art on the back. So I would give this to a DC Multiverse.
All right. Now I'm going to be the dissenting vote here, and I'm going to say Marvel Legends. And because of what you just mentioned, Greg, because Marvel Legends will swap it up with subline branding. So if we want to do Secret Wars, we're getting Secret Wars packages. If they want to do like the retro Spider-Man or the retro Toy Biz X-Men line, like I like how Marvel says, okay, we're going to, or even with like the newly unveiled like Marvel versus Capcom, like the packaging has like the health bars and like the video game logo. And so I'm gonna say for like versatility, Marvel, I'm gonna give it to Hasbro because they do some fun things with the packaging, whereas McFarlane, everything is like looks the same. I'm gonna go there, but I'm outvoted. Looks like DC Multiverse takes packaging. We'll see what the chat is saying. Let's see here.
Got a bunch of Marvel fanboys in the chat.
Don't forget classic card backs with Marvel Legends. Absolutely. Marvel Legends had comics in the packages in the beginning. That's a win. That's really cool.
So they remove it and then it's a loss, right?
Right. Here's a really good thing we didn't talk about. If you're an opener, Multiverse is awesome. Yep, you can. They are collector friendly. You can repackage them. I guess with some of the Marvel Legends, you can too, like if they're in a box, but if they're on card, yeah, you can't really do that. I do totally agree. Those Fantastic Four card backs are amazing. Those boxes are beautiful. Absolutely. Andy says he likes the consistency of the DC Multiverse packaging, but Marvel Legends wins due to retro card. Andy, we're right there together. And then Heinrich says the Marvel retro cards are great. Also, every Batman figure says Batman and not from specific story or movie. That's right. Sometimes they do that on the back. But yeah, like you're right. Like right here, it just says Batman, but on the side it does say Batman 89. But nowhere on here, and on the back it does, but nowhere on here does it say Bronze Edition. No way. No way. They just throw it in the same. Yeah,
that, in my opinion, that's just a noob response, not knowing that it's on the side. So, but you just gotta know the packaging. I'm sorry. If you don't collect this stuff, you just don't know.
Brian Carr says, I'm a Marvel zombie and I love Marvel Legends, but I also like that DC fans have cool figures. Yeah. Blake McFarlane has exclusive comics in their page punchers. Yeah, that's all pretty cool. That's all part of the packaging. That's right. I forgot about page punchers. So thanks for including that, because that is the only time I can think of now that you bring that up where McFarlane has had like an alternative. And I don't mean like the little ones. I'm talking about when you have like the figure that comes like from a comic and they've got the full comic in the back, a full like 7-inch figure.
Well, and that is something that we may have to come as we get to like scale and stuff, because I know Terrence had an issue this past week with some figures not lining up, and you got to keep in mind that Multiverse is one line, and then you've also got the digital line and you've got the page punchers. Those are technically 3 separate lines. They're all made by McFarlane, and some people mix and match and put things in there, but you're going to get some scale variance in those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, moving on to aesthetic. All right. This is going to be tough. This one's going to be tough. So we're going to get into the aesthetic. So when we're talking about aesthetic, I'm kind of taking everything into consideration. Like if it's from, like with Marvel Legends, if it's from a cartoon, does it look like it's from that cartoon? If it's from a movie, does the character look like the actual actor from the movie? Same with McFarlane. So I'm going to throw like likenesses and sculpt in there with the aesthetic, not just their their suits or their bodies. But yeah, let's start about aesthetic. Greg, what you talking about with She-Hulk?
That's all I got to say right there. I mean, this looks dead on like the actress from the TV show.
Yep.
So,
I think we can all agree that both Hasbro and McFarlane are kind of hit or miss when it comes to this stuff.
right.
Sometimes
There's good ones and
they
bad ones.
nail
Yeah.
it. Yeah, sometimes they nail it, and then sometimes it's like they didn't even try. I can think, of the very first Gal Gadot Wonder Woman that McFarlane put out from the Zack Snyder movies. Like, is just a brunette. Like, she looks nothing like Gal
Right.
Gadot. But the newest one that they just put out looks a lot like her. Like, so it's hit or miss. But yeah, that one right there, I think she looks a lot like the actress Tatiana Mali. I forgot
I
her
don't
name.
know.
But
That's a working one.
yeah, that's a really good one to bring up. Same here. Like, I have one of my favorite Marvel Legends. I think this is the absolute best. Like, let me blow this up real quick. Likeness from a person ever. This is
Mhm.
the Marvel Legends Wolverine. Of course, this is the Minneapolis Studios arms, but we're not looking at the arms. Just that head alone, I think that is. I mean, for a mass market like figure, like, that's crazy. Like, that looks so good. So kudos to Hasbro
Could have
for
used a matte clear coat, but other than that, like the paint, the sculpt, everything. I mean, and the arms on that look fantastic. Like they look
yeah. I mean,
really
again,
good.
these are third party arms that I added
Oh, gotcha.
because
Okay.
yeah, because again, here we can talk about this. Like, so the arms on this, Curtis, just since you didn't know, these are from a company called Manipple Studios, and they are specifically designed to fit this character because
Oh, okay.
Marvel give us, or Hasbro give us this character with both the unmasked and the masked head, but his arms were completely cloth covered arms. He had the yellow
Mm,
arms on this from the suit, and he never wore the mask with the cloth covered arms in the movie. By the time he put the
gotcha.
mask on, he was already sleeveless. Inevitably, I'm sure Marvel Legends is going to release one that is sleeveless. I'm sure that's why they did it that way. But again, it was just one of those things. It was like when it was released along with the movie, you're like, why did you do that? Like, he doesn't look like that in the movie. So I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things. But same could be said for DC Multiverse as well. So, Curtis, what do you got about DC Multiverse and its aesthetic?
So I- for me, it's an art style. Like my favorite comic artist was Michael Turner. I love that he did very
Mhm.
long arms, legs, like very, just elongated limbs. It's just the aesthetic that I like. And to me, I know some people will kind of talk about it with the scale and everything. People get irritated with McFarlane because it doesn't fit in with other toy lines as far as height and stuff. But as far as the length of the arms and the torsos and stuff, I really just enjoy that. But on the flip side, you also have pin joints, and that does stand out, especially on certain figures. And I think there's some Marvel Legends that I've seen with pin joints, but for the most part, there's a lot of pinless too, right? So, I don't know. This one,
Yeah, I see where I'm definitely I'm gonna weigh in heavily on the whole pin thing. So absolutely. I mean, this is one of my favorite McFarlane Batman figures. This is the Hush Batman.
yeah.
He looks fantastic, but consistently across the board, from the very first figure they released to the newest one that just came out, you can see, like, they've got pinned knees and arms. He is just not going to
Well,
advance past that. It's
and
just
the
his
one that
thing.
really
And
bothers me, I'll show you, is this one here on the foot when they do that stupid toe articulation,
Mhm.
and then they put the metal pin in there, right?
Mm.
Like it's not even a colored something that's going to try to match. Like it completely stands out, and I don't know. I've got to give it to Marvel Legends on this one, even though I like the length of the DC multiverse figures. I got to give it to Marvel Legends. So, and I'm gonna have to step away for just a minute, but I will be right back.
No problem.
You got it. So I'm gonna weigh in on this because, all right. So here's my thoughts on this. Um, Hasbro is consistently improving, but also Hasbro is consistently inconsistent.
Right.
So, like,
Yes.
if we take a look at their newest figure offerings from the Marvel versus Capcom, there are like 4 figures in that line that have pins in the arms and legs.
Mhm.
Makes no sense. There are Wolverine has single jointed elbows, and like I just think like we're past that. Like we've
Right.
evolved past that. Like you guys have got to start phasing those molds out and
Especially with
stop that.
prices increasing.
Right, absolutely. Like they're just inconsistent. Um, I can't talk about Black Series, but but with Black Series, sometimes they just don't even put like a thigh cut if they're like, oh, we just don't want to. So, I mean, I'm not going to try to lump that in with Marvel Legends, but it's just like almost Hasbro almost looks at a figure from like a per figure standpoint. Like, what articulation are we going to like? What pins are we going to do per figure? Like no, like we've phased that out, moved
Right.
past it. Whereas McFarlane, they're like, nope, you're getting pins, and everybody's getting rubber capes. But now McFarlane is like, well, we're going to do away with like rubber capes, and we're going to do like soft good capes. Okay, with soft goods, but they're not wired. Okay, well now we're going to get rid of soft good capes and no wires, and we're going to add wires. It's like McFarlane seems to, with the aesthetic, seems to like always be improving, but also always behind. And I think, while yes, McFarlane, one of the things that I do like about the aesthetic of McFarlane is McFarlane will give us something that is extremely toy accurate. They will give us something that is cartoon accurate. They will give us something that is a very comic book era inspired time frame accurate, either it be like classic Bats or Hush Batman, or Batman Year Two, which is my current favorite
They do
Batman that
Batman's
McFarlane
well.
has. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean it's yeah, exactly. So I will say that they do capture very specific. I think they're giving us more in terms of like variety when it comes to aesthetic, but the fact that they are playing catch up with the pins and the capes and the soft goods and the wires, they're playing catch up. Like, are they going to get to pinless joints before they lose the DC license? If they
Mm.
do lose it, I don't know. Like, so I'm gonna have to give aesthetic to Marvel Legends, even though I really like to look at a lot of these Batman figures.
Yeah,
I
me
did.
too.
I did want to bring up one more thing on aesthetic that I forgot. So, on the legs, right? A lot of people give McFarlane crap because he doesn't have the thigh swivel, but this is what that looks like. Okay, which I think the aesthetic wise, this looks great. Now, articulation wise, which we'll get to in a second, not great. But like, here's the angel figure. It looks great, and now you got this thigh swivel. But when you do, look at the paint, right?
Yeah, you're breaking. Yep.
Right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
That's
It
the
doesn't look right.
character
It's like,
design. I mean,
and not
can't
only
do
the
anything with
paint,
that.
but some of the sculpt. Like you'll have these really jagged parts that like stick out there on the side,
Mhm.
and it's so if you're going to do a thigh swivel, it would be much better if it was like an internal thigh swivel, so that you weren't breaking the aesthetic of the figure. So, in my opinion, that goes to McFarlane. I mean, you might then lose that same point for articulation, but I give that one to McFarlane. But overall, I still say Marvel Legends is better. So,
Greg, what's your final say here?
I would say Marvel Legends. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's 3 for 3 for Marvel Legends. So Marvel Legends is taking aesthetic. Let's jump into the chat real quick and see what the chat has to say about it. I love Terrence. He says, "You mean CGI? Since She-Hulk was all CGI? Yes, she does look more like CGI. You're right. Absolutely.
That's what wants to argue.
It has her
Who wants to
incorporated,
disagree?
but that's not the actress. It's like saying that Gollum looks like Andy Serkis. Yes, but the figure does very much resemble the on-screen representation of that figure and that character, and the on-screen representation of She-Hulk was made to look like Tatiana Mali. Like
Right.
it was. And so that translates. So we're like in Fight Club, right? We're a copy of a copy of a copy. Like, so
Right.
now we're in the toy version of the digital version of the real actress. And I can still see that actress in the toy sculpt. So that's good. Unlike one of my favorite Marvel Legends figures, the Red Hulk from the Brave New World movie, you see this? This does not look like Harrison Ford. They
No.
didn't even attempt it. And I'm actually okay with that because I don't need a Red Hulk specifically from the Brave New World movie. I want a really cool Red Hulk. Actually, I want them to repaint that Hulk in green because I think that's the best Hulk that they've ever made.
If they would have made that She-Hulk to where she has an action figure of twerking, I would have probably been excited about it. But without that, forget it. So
somebody remind me, did we get from the She-Hulk line? Did we get a yellow and red Daredevil figure in that line?
No.
no,
Man, that's a missed opportunity.
Hot Toys.
Yeah,
version.
Hot Toys. Yes, absolutely. Speaking of Hot Toys, I saw that they just announced they're going to be making Last of Us figures from the HBO show.
Interesting.
Incredible. Let's see here. Heinrich Hoffman says Marvel Legends head sculptures are far superior, especially MCU. I have used Marvel Legends heads for G.I. Classifieds figures, especially female figures. Absolutely.
I don't know. I think, I think like you said earlier, both lines are hit and miss when it comes to those things. And some of the ones that McFarlane's been putting out this past year or so are been pretty freaking spectacular.
I agree.
And they're doing like swappable face plates now and stuff. Like there's, yeah, I don't
dig
know.
that.
I mean,
I dig that.
I agree. There's good stuff from both, and I agree there's bad stuff from both. If we're just going on head sculpts, I would say it's an even. But
I mean, when I'm talking about aesthetic, I'm talking about like here's two of my favorite Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. These are $25 figures. Like this is the No Way Home final swing suit. It actually does come with a Tom Holland head, but I think this is probably my favorite Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure that's ever been released. It doesn't have the articulation as Maximum Profit Spider-Man, but to me, this is a perfect Spider-Man figure. Absolutely perfect from Marvel Legends. And I love this one, even though I have the SH Figure Arts version of Indian Spider-Man. This is one of the best Spider-Man figures. None of this is like the paintwork on here is just fantastic. And look at the aesthetic differences. I mean, the thickness of the legs and limbs are completely different because one's based on animation versus real human proportions from a film. But the paintwork, I mean, it's just
looks great.
I don't know, man. Like, to me, I think it's just personal preference, but when it comes down to it, I just prefer, the Marvel Legends for this one.
Let's see, did I miss super chat out there? Yeah.
Let's see. William Houston says, I prefer comic characters. However, Hasbro has impressed me with the movie stuff. Absolutely. Heinrich says, I didn't know that McFarlane used metal pins. And I don't think I
think it's just on their feet.
Their toes.
Just on the toes.
Yeah. So here, let me blow this up because I want to show this one. So I have this is if you look here.
Oh, that one's plastic.
I these look plastic to me, and they're the same color. So they're not as egregious.
Yeah.
Again, this is
but then
McFarlane's.
This is Dr. Fate.
Oh, here, let me get you back to where we can see.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And it just stands out. Especially if it's a lighter color boot and then you got that metal, yeah.
See, on my Hush Batman, for sure, like metal pins in the toes, you can see them. They're metal and
but see, it's a darker color, so it doesn't stand out as much. But
inconsistent. Also, I'm just gonna, if we had a category for foot articulation, I would check no, because toe articulation, I just don't need it.
No,
not even in Spider-Man figures.
Although I did just pose a flash where I've got him kind of in a running pose with the toe articulation. It looks pretty freaking good. But
it does
for
nice, yes.
90% of the time, you don't need it. So
let's see. McFarlane isn't afraid to do new tooling to make a figure look like it came from a specific storyline or artist. That is correct. I will say that McFarlane will. To me, I've got my problems with that as well. But yes, McFarlane will throw a new tool part in there, newly tooled part in there for a single use figure. But one of my biggest complaints about McFarlane and their tooling, especially when it comes to Batman, is you will have 10 different Batman that all have the exact same body, neck to toe. And the only thing that's different is the head, or maybe the gauntlets, like the little serrated bat wings on the gauntlets. Other than that, I mean, it'll be this is a year one and he's big and buff, but here he is 10 years later and he's still big and buff. So they reuse parts like crazy.
They don't have like
Crazy.
that like you were just showing, like the Spider-Man. We'll talk about it on scale, but they don't have like that teenager buck, right? Like it's all like the big dudes.
Yeah. And
So
again, that's the difference of them being a newer toy line and versus an older toy line like
yeah.
Marvel Legends. They've had time to develop the different body sizes and body shapes. Let's see here. I'm all comic figures. Yeah, no complaints about visible pins. I have many beloved old figures. Absolutely. Candyman 5000. It's like Marvel goes one step forward and two steps back. 100%. Oh yeah, MJ Stetton says, "I love that shirt, Curtis." Um, let's see here. Uh, Blake says, Curtis, I agree 100% on the hidden thigh swivel. Brian Carr, my goodness. Just when you thought that the best show on TV couldn't get any better, they go and add a fresh faced kid from the Midwest to the mix. Welcome, Lance. Absolutely. McFarlane lost the license. I don't think he will bother going pinless at this point. We honestly don't know if McFarlane has lost anything. All we know is that Mattel has gained the master DC license. We don't know if the last I heard was that McFarlane said that they were talking with Mattel to see if there is some overlap that can be taken away, and then let each of them kind of they're working on a deal. So I really hope that McFarlane retains it because I need more superpowers figures in my life. If I lose DC Multiverse, I am okay. I would be like, that sucks, but at the end of the day, I'd be okay. But if we lose more superpowers, I'm going to be heartbroken.
Did you
That's just
see
me personally.
did you see Todd's announcement this week about
Yes, I was going
Walmart?
to talk about that, about Walmart. Yeah, why don't you tell us what he said?
And I mean, if you've been going to Walmart, you probably noticed this, that you're seeing less and less stuff in the toy aisle, and then some of the stuff in the collector section. Well, he made an announcement this week that they're basically out of the toy aisle. Like McFarlane is completely out of the toy aisle at Walmart, and you will only find them in the electronics section of your Walmart stores. So
yeah, and that's probably part of the Mattel situation. They don't want brand confusion, right? So when your little kid is walking down the toy aisle at Walmart and he's looking for only boy toys, because as we know, McFarlane doesn't think that boys buy female action figures, that when he's looking for his boy toys, he's not going to see a Mattel Batman next to a McFarlane Batman and be confused as to why there's two. So yeah, you're probably going to see my Walmart just had a massive reset of their collectibles section, and there's a whole McFarlane shelf back there. It's all the McFarlane. Most of them are what Greg showed, the deluxe collector's edition with the Adam Strange with all the multiple face plates and stuff like that.
But to your point, though, that could be them drawing a distinction. It could be part of that negotiating with Mattel. Hey, we'll focus on the adult collector side.
Right. That's what I was
focus on the kids' toy aisle.
That way, they're not competing against their own. DC.
I mean, they will, because we're the ones buying everything anyway.
Right.
But I guess they still don't realize
they're not competing for space. So there's one DC product, instead of multiple.
Right.
I think it's
have to compete with McFarlane.
Yeah, and I think that's going to come down to parents as well too, because if you go down your toy aisle at Walmart or Target, you will see that they've got the little 5 POA Captain America and Spider-Man and all your little kid stuff, and then you've got your bigger 8 or 9 inch 5 POA plastic Spider-Man next to your Marvel Legends. So you can see that Hasbro or whoever else is helping make these, parents have are you buying for a little kid, a middle-aged kid, or your
40-year-old kid?
40-year-old kid. Yeah, exactly. So there is that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think what we're going to see is whatever Mattel develops, whether it's 5 POA or if it's more Marvel Legends or whatever style, DC figures, and then McFarlane's will be in the back. I would be okay if McFarlane stopped making the regular DC Multiverse, and maybe McFarlane, like you said, Curtis, is doing the adult collector. So maybe we only get the collector's edition, so where the figures are $30 and they've got swappable faceplates and multiple accessories instead of coming with a singular batarang or whatever. Yeah. Look at this. Brian Carr. Curtis is always great. Yeah, yeah, he is. He
Darla
is
might
always
disagree, but okay.
yeah,
I have my
exactly.
moments.
Let's see. Andy says, since the multiverse are the same scale as legions, does the faceplates work on both? Maybe if you're a customizer.
No.
Mm-mm. No, it's actually
William
not the same
Golden, good
scale.
morning.
It's the same height, but they're not as beefy, so the heads are small.
Yeah, we're gonna get to scale. Yeah, William, for sure. It's definitely
Don't get ahead of yourself. We'll bash
Yeah.
McFarlane soon enough.
Yeah, of course he makes 400 Batman and then uses new tooling on one figure. That's him. That's exactly correct. That's exactly what happens.
I mean,
William,
the
he said,
Horsemen have proven
disagree.
you can do a lot with a paint job, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, disagree. I love toe articulation for action posing. Oh, yeah. Grumps, good morning, sir. McFarlane figs are great fodder figs. Hey, we're gonna get to customization here in a bit. Let's see here. I do hope he keeps up with Warhammer. They are cool. I think what you're probably going to see is you're probably going to see him diversify even more, because if they do end up losing DC Multiverse, you can bet that they're going to double down on all the rest of their lines and bring in more. And don't worry, because there was just I don't know if anybody watches the McFarlane minutes or the McFarlane like showcases. I think it's what they're called, where they do like every 2 or 3 weeks they'll do a new like, not him, but like some of his product people will do a show where they show off the new. They just did one this past week called the Elite Edition, and they were showing off what an Elite Edition figure is. Like, that's the new Doom from the Doom Dark Ages game. They showed off a teaser for their new Diablo. The female demon lady from Diablo 4 is getting an Elite Edition. But they also showed off a whole bunch of new stuff that they're working on, and they had a whole slew of new Warhammer stuff. So if you get your Warhammer from McFarlane, don't worry, it's still happening. But I would say if you like Warhammer, man, better quality, smaller scale, you got more room, you can fit more on the shelf, and they cost less. Sometimes they cost less. All right. So next up, God, we're only on number 3. We're gonna have to blow through some of these. Articulation. Now this is a big one. This is a big one. Speaking of toe articulation, what say you, Council of Cool?
I think this one's pretty easy. I think this is Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love the look of McFarlane, the articulation on a Marvel Legend is much better. So,
Greg,
mostly the thigh.
Yeah, I mean they're really upping their articulation. I think that also DC has really improved also in their shoulders. The butterfly joints have become a lot smoother. But I do think that Marvel is definitely
a lot of the ab crunches on now. This probably should have played into aesthetic, because some of the Marvel Legend ab crunches, they got that like divider in the middle of their abdomen that looks kind of freaking weird. But the McFarlane figures, like this Firestorm, like it doesn't move at all. Like it's got like no ab crunch really. So
yeah, I mean you can get them in good poses, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. I'm not saying it's completely horrible articulation, but I think Marvel Legends is way better in this space.
Yeah. And just standard Marvel Legends. I'm not even going to get into Maximum Profit Spider-Man, but you know, like they literally just released that new Miles Morales in the mini comic.
Dude, I almost had to pick that up as a travel toy this week. That thing looks nice.
It is so good, and it moves like butter. It is so well. But yeah, I think we all agree that Marvel Legends will take it when it comes to articulation. If anybody in the chat has a dissenting opinion, please voice it, and we will share it for sure. But until then, we are going to move on to accessories, and I think this is going to be tough because I think both of them suck when it comes to accessories.
They could have more. But I think that especially going like right here and now, I think McFarlane's doing a good job. We're getting soft good capes. We're getting sometimes we're getting swappable face plates, swappable hair now.
Right.
In some cases extra hands. It's not all the time. There's some figures that come bare bones. They don't have much anything else with them, but there's more often than not, I think you're getting more accessories and cooler stuff. Plus, like Greg said earlier, you're getting a stand with every figure, right? So so you can get them in more dynamic poses and make sure that they're going to balance and not fall and go anywhere. You got the little, some of them have the card stands now with you can kind of display the card next to the figure.
Yep, that's in the more expensive like collector's edition. They're doing that.
So I'm gonna go multiverse on this.
Me too.
And I'm gonna go. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry, I jumped in on you.
No. I was just agreeing with Curtis. Just to expedite, I agree. I just opened 2 multiverse figures last night while watching Legion's chat. I missed Off-World. Sorry, Curtis. But
you're fine. I tell people not to watch it anyway.
No, it's a great show. It's a fantastic show. But anyways, the Superman came with like 8 hands. Deadshot came with, I think, 6. Came with multiple guns. They both came with stands and stuff, cards. So I would say accessories definitely is DC Multiverse.
Again, McFarlane is just inconsistent. Okay, I just bought this. I just bought this yesterday. $23. There is not an accessory in this package. Not a single one. Okay, now check this out.
I mean, you still did get a soft
same figure
and a stand, but yes.
Right. Same figure. Here we go. Same exact figure. And then look at this. Look at all of the hands and all of the accessories and all of the stuff that comes with this guy. It's the same price. It's just inconsistent. That's crazy, right? Like,
but I see the same thing with Marvel Legends. I mean, I know, like, I watch a lot of Kent Pool videos, and he goes toy hunting, and he'll get these figures, and they have 0 extra hands, and it's like, like sometimes you'll find a Spider-Man, and he doesn't even have like the whipping hand, right? It's like or wall crawling hand. Like, come on.
Yeah,
like I could see if it's just like a standard figure that whatever, but if it's a Spider-Man, like you need some hands in that thing, man.
Right.
Speaking of Marvel Legends and hands, I did want to show something off real quick. I picked this guy up from Amazon this week because he was $20. So he was half off, or $35, I think was what they were charging for him. I think my Target may have had some for $40. I don't remember. But I just want to show, he's got some really nice hands, like they're expressive. He also comes with some fists. But I did want to show something off, because if you have the Marvel Legends comic book, I think it was comic book, the video game, Miles Morales. He came with these yellow translucent electric hands for dispersing electricity, and they pop in so perfectly. And so Electro can have electric clear hands. Why they didn't just throw these in the package anyway makes no sense to me.
That's pretty freaking cool.
But that's pretty dope. I thought that was pretty cool. So if you have the Miles Morales from the video game that these came with, pop them on your and by the way, I know they didn't have the rights to Jamie Foxx when they did this, and which is why he has the mask. But if you've seen pictures of somebody online, just Google it, where they've pulled this off. This figure looks exactly like Jamie Foxx underneath. Like, it's a shame they couldn't get the rights, because they did a bang up job on the sculpt. Bang up job. All right. It looks like Greg, you said DC Multiverse on this as well. All right. Let's see here. MG Sutton says that Michael Keaton Batman is rocking. William Houston says, I'm spoiled on accessories now. I'm into Mythics and Cosmic Legions. Yeah, they give you a lot.
If you want the best 89 Batman, it is using that McFarlane body, but then taking the head and cape from the Mezco and popping it on there. It doesn't sound like it would be a good combo, but it works really well. So
NECA did a great Keaton Batman back in the day.
Because the Mezco head looks great. Their body is just spongy and nasty and
it's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually went into my Walmart a couple years ago, and they had the NECA 89 Batman, the 1/4 scale. They had it marked half off, and it was $49. And I
have that figure.
That thing is amazing.
Yeah, I have it over here. It's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you got a big Batman and a dick behind you. So,
right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Scale. I know this one is really going to get contentious, but how do we feel on scale?
So,
go ahead, Curtis.
Overall size, I like the McFarlane size. I like the length and all this and that. The problem that I have with the scale, and the reason why they're going to lose this point for me, and I hate to do it because I love McFarlane, I love DC, but they don't have a good teen body. Like you've got the female Robin that they did from the Dark Knight Returns, and then they did a Dick Grayson using that exact same body, which is they don't have the same outfit, they don't have the same logo, but they use that same body, and that's the only smaller body they have. Everything else is large size. You don't ever get that kind of mid-size Robin that's about a foot shorter than Batman. Like there's no, and there's other characters too that on the Teen Titan line that you would love to have some of these Teen Titans that are actually like teenagers and a little bit shorter, but no, everything's just like, so based on that, not just the scale of the figure overall, the 7-inch scale versus 6-inch, but the fact that you can't get those size, comparisons of the characters right. And then,
within their own line,
within your own line. And then, obviously Terrence was showing like some of the different Superman and different this and that to where they're just like all over the place. So like you'll have one character that the size is like all over. And then when you're trying to compare that character to another character that should be smaller, it's not. And then that Power Girl, which I understand is from a Page Puncher, so it's a little bit different line, but that Power Girl towers over everybody. Like there's not a male figure that's as tall as Power Girl. So I don't know, man. I gotta give it to Marvel Legends.
I think with we were talking about parts and scale and stuff. I think it's almost not quite fair though, because McFarlane has only been doing it for a few years, and Hasbro has done it for how long. So like the catalog of parts and tooling and all that stuff is not quite going to be the same. So McFarlane is trying to catch up, of course, but maybe they lost the license. We don't know if they're going to keep going, but I think for the time being, I think they've done pretty well. But yeah, they do need more, variety and scaling. So I'm definitely going to go with Marvel on this.
I did want to point out.
I question their thought process, like from the very beginning, like when they announced this line, and they're like, "We finally got the DC license, and we're making figures." And they said, "Are we going to do 6? Hell no, we're doing 7. Why? Like, for what reason? Like,
I think
everybody else is doing 6.
If you do 7, if because a lot of people had the DC Universe Classics at that point, right? If you do 6s. They just pick and choose here and there and mix it in with what they've already got. If you do 7, they've got to start the collection over. Like, I think that was the idea behind it. But
okay,
I did want to address this from Grumps. He says they messed up the Tim Drake body because it was on an adult body. Correct, because they re-sculpted that torso. That torso for Tim Drake is a brand new torso. All you had to do was make it a little smaller. Like, you're already making new tooling anyway. Just make it a little bit smaller. And having some new legs that are just a little bit shorter, that doesn't require a whole lot. It's not that big of a change. So I think you could easily change it without having to have this huge library of parts. Like you could make that scale just a little bit shorter with 2 quick changes. So
Terrence says Power Girl was in the multiverse packaging, the same as the Guy Gardner and the Captain Cold, but those were like the collector's editions, right? Like those were the
I thought she was Page Puncher. Okay. She's huge though. She's freaking huge.
Yes, sometimes it's patents that decide scale, but yes, that comes along with licensing. So with licensing, like they license out a certain scale, but at that time, nobody else was making 6-inch scale DC figures when the McFarlane figures came out. So like why they didn't like negotiate for the 6-inch figure license is beyond me. Like that's what I don't understand. But like I think like what Curtis said, I think Curtis's excuse is just as good as any. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, licensing it pertains to like how like tall the figure is, which is why, by the way, that all Star Wars Funko Pops are bobbleheads and not regular Funko Pops. It's because Hasbro has a license for Star Wars figures no matter what the scale is. And so if it's a Funko Pop and it moves the head like this, then that's considered an action figure. And and they're not allowed to make action figures. So that's why they're bobbleheads. Stupid, but oh well. Grump says, I think 7-inch scale was a Warner Brothers mandate. Never heard that.
Could be.
And it could be the fact that they thought that way. Like, you know, hey, people aren't going to buy these. They're not going to buy as many of them if it's the same scale because they're only going to replace the ones that they want to. So,
this is interesting. Whether it's on a shelf or not, legally, a company may have a scale for years beyond production. Maybe that's why. I don't know. If I ever get a chance to talk to McFarlane himself, I'm gonna ask him. All right, here we go. Now this one's gonna be. I think this is gonna be tough. Character selection. Ooh, character selection. What do we think here?
Dude, I 100,000,000,000% say DC Multiverse in this. There's some characters that we've gotten. I mean, I got the electric blue and red Superman. Like there's some off the wall characters that I'm like never thought that we would get. That I'm like, dude, yeah, versions of characters like we just got the Green Lantern with the steel suit. Like that's like literally one comic. One issue of one comic that was in, and like we get a figure of that.
Dude, they just showed off this week. They're making Kite Man.
Yeah, I mean it's, you know, there's some off the wall stuff that it's gonna miss for a lot of people, but for that one person that's a Kite Man fan, they're like, hell yeah, I finally get a Kite Man.
Right.
You know?
Part of me wants to say, like, part of me wants to knock, you know, McFarlane for, it seems like no matter what, every time he puts out a wave of figures, it's almost like he's guaranteed to throw a Batman in there, you know? Especially like if you look back on like the Superpowers line, it's like every single wave almost of Superpowers has another version of Batman. And I'm like, stop making so damn many Batman figures and give me more Superpowers characters before you screw up and like it's over and I don't get any more. But at the end of the day, I've got 15 Superpowers Batman. I need
Marvel,
one. But Marvel does the same thing with Spider-Man
and Iron Man. Yeah.
Right. And Wolverine. Like, this is also hard for me too, because again, Marvel Legends has been around for what, 10 plus years. And then McFarlane's only been around what, for 4 or 5. So, you know, it's like, it's tough for me, but, and I'm not the biggest DC, like when it comes to comics, I'm definitely more of a DC fanboy than I am a Marvel fanboy. I read a ton of Marvel when I was a kid, but I read way more DC. More of my favorite characters are DC. But I'm not so steeped in comic knowledge that I know all of the deep cut, you know, C string, D string, E string superheroes. Same way with Marvel. So, you know, somebody who collects both of these lines more heavily may be able to say, you know, Marvel Legends has gotten to more deep cut figures than you know McFarlane has, but they've also had twice as much time to do so. Right. You know, like, you know, they can afford now to like give us a deep cut. But McFarlane's like, well, Kite Man's really popular from the Harley Quinn show. Why not give him a Kite Man? So character selection, this one's really hard for me. I'm kind of on the fence because, like I said, McFarlane's making Batman and I love Batman, but Hasbro's making Spider-Man and I love Spider-Man. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I kind of think that McFarlane overproduces Batman figures and to a lesser degree, Superman figures. I think their overproduction of those figures and over inclusion in the line is far more egregious than Marvel Legends with Spider-Man. So I think I'm going to side with Marvel Legends on this one.
But my retort to that would be, we're also getting different versions of those characters. Like I said, the electric blue and red Superman, the recovery suit Superman, like, you know, with Batman, like all the different iterations and, you know, yeah, it's the same character, but it's the different iterations and versions of that character. Right. So,
right.
Yeah. I think I tend towards DC on this one. They've had less time, but they've had some off the wall, crazy, insane characters that they've, I mean, we got the Question and that was awesome. So I think with the time that they've given and just the
Captain Carrot. Yep.
Yeah. Captain Carrot. Absolutely. So I give it to DC on this one.
We just got Clockman. Like, come on. Who thought we were going to get a Clockman? Come on.
Right. Terrence says, for all the crap McFarlane gets for Batman, how many Iron Man and Captain Americas are we getting? Absolutely. I mean, we just said that. Like, yeah, Greg and I just said that.
People
Yeah,
buy that stuff
100%.
though. So I mean, they're gonna
Yeah.
make us happy and throw in what makes.
I mean, Marvel Legends has their icons line, right? I don't know what it's called, but you know, it's the one where last time they put out an Iron Man and a Spider-Man from the movies, so that those two are always on shelves. And now their next wave of that is another Spider-Man and Captain America from the movie, so that those characters are always on shelves. So yeah, I agree. It's
And we
it's
keep
the
buying
same.
them.
I
So,
saw people getting excited about these Hasbro reveals for the Capcom stuff. Like almost all of those figures are stuff that we've already have almost exactly. Like the Omega Red is the exact same figure, hasn't changed. The Captain America, very, very little difference from what we've seen before. Like,
We
like
talked
every
about
one of those,
that a little bit.
you got Venom, you got Wolverine, you got Captain America. Like every one of these has come out within the last few years, and we're just getting them.
Yeah.
Going, so
It's very inconsistent because some of those, like four of those characters have pinned knees. That Wolverine's got a single jointed elbow. Like, we've moved past this. Like, Hasbro, come on. Like, now there were some reveals this week that I was super happy for. That's Psylocke. I will knock somebody over for one of those Psylocke figures. As a matter of fact, I've already split it with Jeff. He's going to get my Thanos, and I'm getting Psylocke.
you need to get that one that Meal just did. That
And that
Psylocke.
Juggy, man, that Juggernaut is insane.
That Juggernaut does look good.
yeah.
Heinrich says, I can explain that. It is the buyers at Walmart, Target, and Amazon and other chains. They only recognize main characters like Spider-Man and Batman. McFarlane does a great job with deep cuts of characters. Absolutely. Yeah, and in the Capcom wave, William says McFarlane hasn't done enough classic looks of characters.
They're hitting them now, but it's
them now.
maybe too late. But yeah, we're getting a lot of Silver Age right now, which is freaking great.
All right, somebody had a comment up above. I skipped over it on purpose because, MJ Staten right here, where he said, we all need to keep in mind prices for what you get. And the reason I skipped over that on purpose is we are going to get to prices. It is our new category right now, price point. So let's talk about it, guys. Price point, break it down for me.
So right now, I think things are weird, right? Because the whole tariff thing and some prices, like some of the things have gone up, and they're only up in certain retailers. I think you did something on the Maximum Hulk where it was like the price variance between certain retail, like somewhere like $50 all the way to like $80, $90. It's like I think it's hard to say like right now, this point in time, but over the past few years, I feel like you've gotten a lot more with McFarlane than you have with Marvel Legends in terms of accessories, in terms of what I think the price for what you're getting has been better. And I think they did a really good job of keeping that price in between that, $20 to $29 range for the most part, other than like the collector series ones. And even those, they didn't do like a maximum, whatever Hasbro thing where you're charging $50. Like the most you're paying for McFarlane, even like the high-end collector ones, is like $39 unless it's like a con exclusive.
Right now we're going to have to exclude like the tariff situation, but like from let's just say prior to the tariff situation, with prices going up, I think DC Multiverse gives you more for your money. So if you look at a basic figure like that we looked at, you're getting at least one figure, hopefully at least one accessory. You're getting a card and you're getting a stand.
Plus
and and it's larger. And hopefully it's got soft goods if there's a cape involved or a coat or something. I think and those prices have consistently been, I know like maybe when they first came out, they might have been like $19.99 or $20.99, but they've stayed at right around $23. Now, yesterday I did pick up two figures at my local Target. I picked up the bronze Batman, the silver label exclusive, and I picked up the red exclusive version of the Riddler in his final suit. And these were on the stickers on the shelf were $22.99, but when I got up front, they rang up $23.99. And the clerk there was gracious enough to reprice them for me. But it looks like McFarlane's prices are going up in stores to $24. But McFarlane, Marvel Legends have been $24.99 for a very long time. Like they've been at $25 for like the last 4 or 5 years, it seems like. So I do think you do get more, and I'm just talking about basic figures. I'm not talking about deluxe or the collector's edition or like your specialty. But yeah, I do think McFarlane is giving you more in a basic package than Marvel Legends gives you in a basic package. Just my stance on that.
It's almost it's almost preference because the price is basically, I mean, the same.
They're about the same.
About
yeah.
24,
Unless
5.
The one thing, I don't know if you guys are including this in your judgments or not, but it seems like a lot more of the Marvel Legends end up, ending up at like Ross or Ollie's or something, and you may get it for like $5. Like, do you take that into consideration on this? Because that part of that's just like overproduction or misjudging the demand. But I mean, you can get some at if you pick up a Marvel Legends figure for $5. Like I saw Kent picked one up this week. It was $4 for a figure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude.
Yeah, I mean, price is everything. I mean,
can't beat that. No,
this guy has been in my local Target for $35 or $39 for months.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy that. There's no way I would buy this.
What did
but
you
when
pay
I
for
saw it, Amazon had it for 20. It was $20. It was like half price, and I bought it because I was like, I bet you I could pop that head off and put some Valaverse heads on that, and that would look really cool. And like, even if I just play around and pose this guy, I can get $20 worth of fun out of this. And I was like, he's the figure that I was like, I don't need in my collection, but I'd love to play with that figure for $20. Will I probably sell this guy on eBay eventually for $10? Absolutely. So I'm renting this guy for $10, but I'll get $20 worth of enjoyment out of it for sure. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, sometimes it's going to come down to like misjudging how popular a character is and timing. Like, had this exact figure, just like this, had come out when the movie came out a couple years ago,
probably would have
this would have hit. It would have sold like hotcakes. But now,
especially
it's like,
if you throw those hands with him that you were just talking about.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's just a missed. I don't know. Like
Heinrich here says, what ticks him off about McFarlane are the chase figures like Hawkman, Hawkgirl, in classic Justice League outfits, not paying eBay price. So there's a trade-off, right? Like, because Marvel Legends, what they would do is they would put out one version of that character, and then like 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road, they would put out the different version as a whole different figure. And you've already paid for the first one. You didn't know that the second version was going to come out. And now you're trying to make that decision. Do I need to have to now buy a second one and replace the other one because I like this second version better? Or I don't buy it and now it sits there on pegs and ends up at a Ross or Ollie. So there's like a trade-off. Like, do you want both versions of that character coming out now and one of them is a chase variant? Or do you want them spread apart and you don't know about it and now you may end up buying both?
That's a very good point. And I want to focus in on this because our next category is availability, and I think that's where that's going to fit. So Heinrich, you're right there with us. Greg, before we move on, price point, what do you think?
DC.
All right, you're going to give it to DC. All right, so yes, let's jump right into availability because I think Curtis has a very fair point. Good example. This guy comes with sleeves. Inevitably, we know we're getting this guy with no sleeves.
Oh, guaranteed.
Down the road. Why are we waiting? Why did you do this in the first place? If you know, did they do it on purpose? Are they purposely making us wait until they can give us a dirty ripped sleeve variant of this guy? Like, I don't know. Like, why did you guys not release this guy when the movie came out? Why did you wait 3 years, or 2.5 years to put this guy out? Like, there is some of that. I also agree with the frustration with Heinrich. If there is a version, so first of all, it's very confusing because somebody like me, like all of us, everybody on the screen and everybody in the chat, we're all diehard figure fans. Like, we keep up. We're reading news every day. We're reading the chats. We're sharing pictures and news with our friends. We're dialed into this stuff. And before a week ago or 2 weeks ago, when Jeff explained it to me in our private chat, I could not tell you the difference between a McFarlane regular figure, a silver stamped platinum figure, a red stamped platinum figure, or a gold stamped platinum figure. It's too damn confusing. And then some of these figures, like the red variant or the gold chase variant, are only going to be at Walmart, or they're only going to be at Amazon, or they're only sold on McFarlane's store. Like, why are you making it so difficult for us to get these figures? Like, I understand exclusives, and I'm not talking about exclusives. Getting a store exclusive, I understand that. Everybody wants one. That's fine. But there needs to be like some very clear communication, like on their website and on other places, and then make it affordable for us to order from you. Like, I have never ordered a figure directly from McFarlane because his shipping is so freaking high. Like,
Mhm.
even on a
Crazy.
standard figure, you're looking at least $10 shipping on a standard figure. So now your
Yeah, mine's
$25
typically like
figure,
$8.95. Yeah.
I paid
yeah,
$18 for Hawk Girl the other day
Mm,
just for shipping.
just for shipping.
that's crazy.
That's standard shipping.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a scam.
Yeah.
And see, so and Hasbro has a better distribution. So first of all, they're making it very clear, like in their videos, like when they do their fan streams, this is a fan channel, meaning that it's here, here, and here. This is where you can get it. This one is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. You can only get it here. And being an Hasbro Pulse member, like, comes with free shipping. And so, like, they make it a little
The
bit
only
better
problem
than
is if you buy directly from Hasbro, you end up getting it after everybody else. Because why would Hasbro have it before the other people have it?
That's frustrating. They seem to get it. They seem to get it last behind everybody, with the exception of Big Bad Toy Store,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think they only get it before them. But yeah, that's also very frustrating. But the flip side is, I have a friend of mine locally, Carlin, who buys a lot from McFarlane directly, and he gets it fast. Like, and when that
Yeah.
thing goes up for sale and he buys it, like, he has that figure in like 3 days. Like, he's
Yeah.
got it.
That's the flip side. Like I know, like Heinrich said, he doesn't want to chase variant. He wants to be able to pre-order. The problem with that is that then you're waiting for them to manufacture it, right? Because they're holding off on making the thing until they find out how many they sold. The benefit of what he's doing is that you then get it like pretty quickly. It's a quick turnaround. But it's definitely a trade-off. There's pluses and minuses to both. I think for me, availability wise, I think you got to give this to Marvel Legends. Now, I think it sucks in most cases because you may end up buying a figure that's not really the version that you want, but you buy it because it's available. And then down the road, the other one comes out. It's like the whole Brian Flynn fucking Silverhawk thing, right? Like, you sell me the non vac metal ones and tell me you can't do vac metal. And then as soon as I buy the whole set, then you come out with the vac metal ones.
Well,
That's
even
kind of
before
what Marvel Legends do, right?
Even before that, this is something that really irritated me because I'm a huge Silverhawks fan.
Mm.
Even before they had finished the main line, because Copper
Yeah.
Kid had not come out yet,
Correct.
they had already sold me, and I had in my possession Quicksilver and Steelheart before I ever had Copper
Which look
Kid.
great, by the way. They're amazing.
I'm like, I get that
Yeah.
they're basically repaints, but come on. And the same thing with He-Man back here. The Origins line, they're not even finished with that, and they're moving on to the cartoon collection. It's like, dudes, you guys got about 10 more figures to go. Finish those, then move on to cartoon collection, please.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have a 2 bad in the cartoon collection, but I don't have a 2 bad in Origins yet? Like, come on.
So at the end of the day, I would say Marvel Legends are easier to obtain than McFarlane figures. So I got to give it to Marvel Legends.
Greg, you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't necessarily like their model. I think it's frustrating, but at the same time, they are. If you want a specific figure, it's going to be a lot easier to get.
Yeah, I kind of, even though I don't like this solution, but I do think it'd be better, and I probably would buy more from them if McFarlane had like a Hasbro Pulse membership to where I'm not paying so much for shipping.
Yeah.
Because I just can't do it. If your figure's 25 and you charge me 18, 10 or above for shipping, I'm out.
The one thing I will throw out there for people that may not know, if you buy from McFarlane, so like let's say that Hawk Girl situation that they were talking about, if you buy the regular Hawk Girl, they have this EQL program where it's basically like a lottery, right? Where you basically put in for this, and if your name gets drawn, you have the opportunity to buy the Chase variant. Well, for each figure that you buy of theirs, through McFarlane of that figure, like if you buy the regular Hawk Girl, you get an increased odds of your name being pulled for the Chase variant. So, it's not an ideal situation, but like that's what happened for me with the Hawkman. I bought the regular one, and then I waited to open it. I got pulled for the EQL. I got the Chase variant, and then I sold the regular one. So,
all right, so let's simplify this because that's just another level of complexity, signing up for a queue and a line to order. So let's simplify this. Each of us, would you rather Marvel's way of doing it, which is they give us, let's just say, sleeved Wolverine first, and then 6 months later, sleeveless Wolverine? Or would you rather Marvel Legends put out sleeved Wolverine is the mainline release, and sleeveless Wolverine is the chase variant that you may find in stores or may not, but it's available at the same time? What would you rather? Which of those two evils would you rather support?
I prefer the McFarlane version. Like right now, knowing that both those Hawk Girls exist, I'm okay with the regular version. But if I get the platinum, I'm gonna be even more excited. So, and it's kind of like a luck of the draw kind of thing. So, even though it's harder to obtain, and that's what I thought we were going by as far as availability, I think it's hard to obtain. But I prefer the McFarlane way of doing it.
I would pick the Marvel Legends. I will wait if I need to, as for the penultimate version.
Yeah, I think I prefer that too. Like I hate like that fear of missing out on something that I really want. I hate
you may never
chase.
see it. You may never get it unless you want to pay $100 plus.
Yeah,
chase.
I hate chasing that down.
My only caveat, and we'll get to it, is that if I don't get the chase version, I'll just paint the regular version into the chase version.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
It's not going to take me that much time. So
I'll show you.
Yeah. And I've seen some people do that, like with the Hawkman one. They just took the regular one and then they painted it up. You know, because all they are is repaints. So.
Yeah, I have to say, with superpowers, when McFarlane released like their Penguin in the DC Multiverse line, but the chase version was the superpowers color, I was pissed because I was like, that's the only color I want is the superpowers color. Now I have to go track that, but yeah, it's just I don't.
You have a superpowers color Penguin?
I do believe so. It's the blue and the purple and the yellow.
Damn it!
Back to what
Curtis the regular one.
The Power Girl chase, I think she had a jacket though, as opposed to the regular version, so it was a little bit different.
Or was that a chase? Was that the chase, or was that the?
I think
regular
the chase
version
was
versus
a pants
the
and the
collector's
jacket. I think.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like a collector's edition.
You are correct. There's a platinum edition Penguin. Gosh dang it! Now I gotta go get that. Thanks, Mark. It looks awesome.
It does. It looks like the superpowers. Like, heck yeah.
Oh, damn it, Mark.
All right. Let's get into it because we got about 15 minutes.
I'm gonna try to call an audible here real quick though, because I think our next one is value, and we really rolled that into price point. Can I throw a different category out there instead of value?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
How about paint apps?
Okay. All right. Let's. I'm down for that. All right. So we're gonna roll value into price point. That's sure that works. Paint apps. All right.
I am 100% giving this to Marvel Legends. There's a lot of things on the McFarlane that they have sculptural details on. And like this is an example. I'll talk about kind of on customizing, but like I repainted this Doomsday, right? This thing had almost zero paint apps. Everything on here was pretty much sculpted a certain color with a tiny bit of dry brushing.
He looks beautiful, man.
The sculptural details were great, but they did a terrible job of painting this thing, right? Like there's just certain things that they just leave sculpted in a certain material and they don't paint versus like look at Professor Xavier's tie. Like they paint all the stripes on his tie. Like, you know, I don't know. I just feel like with Marvel Legends, I just feel like you get a lot more of those really small paint hits that make a huge difference. So yeah, even though
it does vary by character. It does vary by character, but I mean, I'm gonna blow this up. Yeah, this is a standard $25 Marvel Legends figure. But look, the white on the spider is not just white; it's also outlined in gold. Yeah. As far as his face, look how many paint apps are on his face. The white and gold with the paint apps on his back.
Even the back that you're not going to see. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're definitely, I think for sure, like, yeah, I'm going to have to give paint apps to Marvel Legends as well.
I love this figure, but it's so basic. The paints are.
Yeah. I've seen people like touch up his belt and his holsters and stuff and like add some silver details and it like super pops.
I mean, look at the page punchers though. This Superman comes with. You know,
yeah. That stuff freaks me out. I don't.
Yeah,
I
I'm not a
can't.
cell
I don't
shaded guy.
like that. I will say, I do have this McFarlane. I haven't shown this off yet. This is one of my favorite McFarlane Batman figures. It's from the movie, of course, the Ben Affleck movie. There's lots of sculpted detail. I think the paint that's there. This is one of my favorite capes he's ever
That's
put
a nice
out. This
cape.
is very high quality. The wire is nice and strong.
Nice.
It looks like Ben Affleck in the suit.
Why did you say
There's
that
not a
name?
lot of not there's not a lot of paint apps, but there's a nice wash across the whole figure. I mean, this thing is very well painted. I mean, I don't need another, armored Batman in my collection. This guy, he takes the cake for me for sure. But
I just think there's
yeah.
some things like buckles and stuff. Like take a look. This is the chase version of the Hawkman, right? Like this is the one that you're hoping to get and you're paying extra for. There's no details on that belt at all painted.
Mhm.
There's not a buckle, not a snap, not a, it's just a yellow belt.
Yeah.
And you
the
probably all
details
the
are
budget
there.
went to the
All the pouch
Right,
details and the button detail, they're all there. They just didn't hit any paint.
Did
on
you
it.
do anything to those wings, or is that how the wings come?
That's how the wings come. The only thing I did with this was I cut off his hair. He's got like black flowing hair in the
Oh
background.
no.
And it
Yeah.
didn't
Why did they
match
only
the
paint
suit.
half the wings? It's like they dipped them in a wash, but they didn't go all the way down.
Yeah, it's like the bottom half of it. Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
weird.
Look at the belt buckle on this. That they
Yeah.
painted
See,
his
that's what I'm
eyes.
talking about. Like, look at that belt buckle versus the Hawkman one I just showed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even the
lot of
lines
hands.
on his boots. They did the
Yep.
lines.
Yeah.
That's some fine lines right there.
Yeah. I think that's hands down Marvel Legends.
Yeah. Marvel Legends.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the last one, which is going to be very difficult for me and Greg, I think, but not so much for Curtis, and that is customizability. I think this really comes down to how talented you are. Because if you're super talented, like I've seen people take really crappy 5 POA, like those 9 and 10-inch plastic toy figures and break them apart, resculpt them, add in new muscles with clay, and like make them a crazy looking
Right.
statue that looks like a $300 statue. So I think this is going to come down to the quality and the talent of the person doing it. But Curtis, like, let's weigh in on this. What do you have more fun customizing?
Well, and I don't, to me, it's not necessarily more fun. It's like which one lends itself to being more customizable. And I think it's McFarlane because I feel like they have much better sculpted details. Like if you just look at like the skin, the muscles, the fur, whatever's on it, the sculpted details are there. They just do a crappy job of painting it. So it lends itself to, if you did a quick dry brush or paint job, it can really, pop like that Doomsday that I was talking about. So you can make some quick changes real quick or do a head swap or whatever. And it's a quick change. The other thing is, as much as I hate the pinned joints, it does make it easier for customizing. If you want to switch out a lower leg or a lower arm, you can pop out that pin, put a different lower leg or arm in and pop it in. Whereas with the pinless, you can't really do that. You're kind of stuck with it because it's built into the joint itself. So, I just think in terms of being able to customize it, I got to give it to McFarlane. I think they're, I see shout out to Tony's_figs on Instagram, does an amazing job of customizing McFarlane's to where you look at it and you're like, holy cow, like what toy line is this? And you're like, that's McFarlane. And it's a lot of simple changes, little small paint apps, little things here and there, but it makes a huge difference. So
Heinrich says, Curtis, can I send you my Hawkman to paint?
If you're willing to have it go on the log of projects that I have that I may not get done for the next 40 years, absolutely.
Greg, what about you? I know you don't do a ton of customization, but what do you think here?
I definitely don't know what I'm talking about, but I would say Marvel because you have such a variety of different sizes, scales, body types, vest, no vest, woman's chest, size, face, different faces, hair, things like that. I think variety, you have to give it to Marvel. I think DC, like Curtis said, this body, this heroic muscular body is great. And I can see how you could do a lot of things with it. With the bodies that they make, the musculature and stuff. but I think just variety with Marvel and all the different things that you have to play with, I would say Marvel wins that one.
Jeff says if you combine the McFarlane sculpt with Hasbro's paint department, you'd have the perfect domestic action
Yeah, I agree.
figures.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Pretty dang
Absolutely.
good.
Well, I do not customize McFarlane and I do not customize Marvel Legends, but I do a lot of Spider-Man head swaps. A lot of them. I will like if one particular Spider-Man doesn't come with a wall crawly hand, I probably have a Marvel Legends Spider-Man hand that does fit from a different figure. So I do a lot of popping and swapping, and I kind of feel like for popping and swapping, which is my all that I customize when it comes to Marvel Legends. Um, I can't think of any one of them that I've ever really painted. I have to go with Marvel Legends on this because
The library.
hopefully a lot of times the head will actually fit if you pop it. Now sometimes the neck pegs are different sizes and I don't know why they do that. Used to be like that with GI Joe, but now they've said, okay, we're just going to make all the neck pegs standard so that all heads will pop on and fit. But with hands and heads popping and swapping, I have to go with Marvel Legends. And that brings us to our winner with 6-4 votes. That's going to say that Marvel Legends has come out on top on this.
Curtis disagrees.
Wow.
Yes.
No,
Had this been a 5-5 split, we would have been screwed because I made a graphic for whoever won, but I didn't make a graphic.
I think I was probably down the middle. Like, could you just see mine? Like my votes? Was I
okay? So Curtis, it looks like Curtis's votes. You had, let's see here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 for DC and 5 for Marvel Legends. Greg, you had 1, 2, 3, 4. You had a 6-4 split for Marvel Legends, and I had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had an 8-2 split. So I definitely came out more on the Marvel Legends side. Greg, you were on the Marvel Legends side, and Curtis was split right down the middle.
So I was the only impartial one, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that does bring us to the end of our show, 4 minutes early. I want to thank, Curtis says, Heinrich says, please hit that like button. I want to thank everybody who came today. I want to thank Curtis for coming on and doing this and for having the idea to do this, because I think it was a lot of fun.
Anytime you want me, man. I love your guys' show. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. Best show on YouTube right now. Saturday mornings. It's never been this much fun. So
thank you so very much. We forgot to ask everybody to like the video, and so since nobody liked it at the very beginning, Trevor didn't show up today. So that's probably why.
Next time.
Greg, buddy, thanks for coming on and doing this. I really appreciate you, man.
So much
always
fun.
Always. You know where to find us all. I don't have to remind you guys. You know where we are. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you in the Toy House.
Take care.
Bye.